In this session, we're going to take a look at the Grass Valley K-Frame XP and the programmable clean feeds and plus the split MEs that you can get out of the various K-frames and from Grass Valley. So right now, if you take a look at program, I've got a lake shot up here. I'm going to add in 8 keys. This is part of the new XP frame that can handle 8 keys per ME. And now let's take a look at what we can do with the different feeds. So we're just going to look at one of the MEs. Every ME has programmable clean feeds coming out of them. And right now we'll just take a look at ME2. So you can see up here I've got ME2A, ME2B, ME2C, and ME2D. So let's take a look at the menu, get a better understanding of this. So now we've got ME2 selected. We're in the normal mode. Normal mode means that we have A and B mixing for the A and B buses. And then we have all 8 keys are in over the top of those A and B buses. And then we have the B, C, and D outputs are all clean. This is in our normal mode. None of these outputs, I'm clicking on these, none of these can be changed right now until when we get into programmable clean feed, then those outputs can be changed. So now let's take a look at the upper right box here, the ME2B box, and I'll start to turn keys on and off in that box. And you can notice at the very top there, my keys are going in and out as I do this. Keep in mind that all of these configurations that I'm showing you can be ememeable, which means that you can, on an effect-by-effect basis, change all your programmable clean feeds, all your programmable outs. If you have an international feed, domestic feeds, all that stuff can be changed on an effect-by-effect basis if you need to. So that makes it very powerful. So ME2C, if we look at the lower left, notice too I'm turning those keys on and off. So there's really no limitation on these. We can turn off any combination we want and learn that into an EMEM, and then that becomes part of that EMEM register. So now again, these are all over the AB bus for mixing. So when we split an ME apart, we truly get 2 MEs out of it. So now I go into split mode, and notice I've got different video on those bottom 2 boxes here. So if you look back at our menu here, we've got A and B outputs, and they've got all the keys in. C and D don't have any keys in right now, but we'll get to that in a second. So now we can take on the main program, on the main panel, I can hit primary for my primary side of my ME, and we'll select a different source and start doing some dissolves up on the primary side. We'll go to the secondary bus, and now I can do dissolves down here on the secondary side, and come back up here. So then I can do, let's say I want to do a wipe on the primary side and a dissolve on the secondary side. So I can do that. So now I'm wiping on the primary, dissolving on the secondary. So it really truly acts like 2 independent MEs that will share all the same keys. So now let's take a look back at the menu again, and we have primary keys visible on secondary outputs and secondary assigned. What that really comes down to is what EMEMs have control of which keys. So you say on the primary side, that means when we split an ME apart, the primary side EMEMs will have control of it. If we do a secondary side, then the secondary's EMEMs will have control of that. So you have 1,000 EMEMs on the primary and 1,000 EMEMs on the secondary. They're all independent from one another once we're in the split mode. So let's take a look, and I'm just going to add keys 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll add those. Those are still in primary, so primary's EMEMs have control of them, but I'm going to add those so they're visible on the secondary inputs. And if we look back at our quad up here, we can see that ME2C has got some keys in, ME2D on the lower there. So look lower left at the ME2C and see that we're starting to turn these keys on and off. And we can go on ME2D at the lower right there box, and we can see we can start to turn keys on and off as well. And again, that's all learned in different EMEM registers. You can change on an effect-by-effect basis. That can all change. So makes it very powerful. A great way to do international and domestic feeds, clean feeds, and secondary feeds for internets and so forth and so on. So very powerful tool. And again, every single ME can be split up like that. No limitations on any of the MEs in the system. So that's the basics of clean feeds, programmable clean feeds, and split MEs.